keep his big, ugly nose out of my business if he don't want to get it slapped. Did you see that? Yes, sir.
Interesting facts about famous people.
The best face-to-face duels in westerns. Yes, there are some great shootouts and gunplay in westerns, usually involving two or more individuals. We have seen many of these. Today I just want to look at those gunfights that just had two gunmen facing each other down, which by the way was very uncommon in the real Wild West. Hollywood was the inventor of this for cinematic effect. If you enjoy this video, hit the notification button to get my new videos. If you want to check out my many other videos, head over to my channel. The link is in the description. Please take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel as well. I appreciate it. Let's get into it in no particular order. Appaloosa, 2008, an underrated modern western gem from actor-director Ed Harris. Harris plays Virgil Cole, a lawman who, along with his trusted deputy, Everett, played by Viggo Mortensen, is hired to bring peace to the town of Appaloosa, New Mexico. This film is understated for a western, moving at a slower pace but never dragging, allowing the viewer to become immersed in Harris's highly detailed vision of the Wild West. The duel at the end of the film is the standout scene of the movie, pitting Mortensen's Everett against the villain of the film, Randall Bragg. The tension is palpable when Everett lays down his challenge. The duel itself is fast and authentic. Mortensen utilizes a period-accurate classic dueling stance. Bragg's death is a stark moment. Even more important is how the duel reflects the camaraderie between Everett and Virgil. Tombstone, 1993, a 90s western starring Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer as gunslingers Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, respectively. The ensemble cast also includes Bill Paxton, Sam Elliott, and Michael Biehn. The story revolves around the famous gunfight at the OK Corral in Tombstone, Arizona. The dueling scene in this movie is between Holliday and Michael Biehn's character, Ringo. Ringo, expecting to face off with Earp, is taken by surprise when Holliday arrives and attempts to back away from the fight. Holliday pushes him into dueling, insisting that the duo finish their game. Ringo accepts and is shot dead in a flash. It's an intense scene, and one that gave Kilmer fans his most iconic movie quote, "I'm your Huckleberry." The Grand Duel, 1972, a classic Lee Van Cleef film about a group of outlaws who are determined to kill their leader's killer. They eventually run afoul of gunslinger Van Cleef's gunslinger character, who has a score of his own to settle. In the final confrontation between Van Cleef and the outlaws, the thugs try to figure out a way to outgun Van Cleef. The close-ups and intercutting of stark black and white flashbacks ooze style and ramp up the tension, which finally gives way when Van Cleef successfully delivers a bullet to each bad guy. A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, a spaghetti western and one of the first of the genre to find international success. Also the first in the Man with No Name trilogy of films that stars Clint Eastwood. Following Eastwood when he arrives at a Mexican town that has a power struggle between two rival ruling families. Eastwood realizes that there is money to be made playing both sides, and he does this, though there are violent consequences. The film is a loose remake of Akira Kurosawa's classic Yojimbo. Just as in that film, A Fistful of Dollars features a closing face-off. Ramon Rojo, one of the men Eastwood scammed, is famous for his skill at shooting straight for the heart. When Eastwood faces off with him, he protects himself with a metal plate protecting his chest. To Ramon's embarrassment, his shooting yields no results in this iconic spaghetti western. High Noon, 1952, follows Marshal Will Kane, played by Gary Cooper, on a mission to recruit deputies to fight against a gang of outlaws who have descended upon his small town. The film progresses more or less in real time, tracking Kane's quest to find helpers as the clock ticks ever closer to high noon. Kane soon discovers that the townspeople are too cowardly to help, setting the stage for an incredible duel. My Name is Nobody, 1973, a spaghetti western about a gunfighter named Nobody who befriends his hero, veteran gunslinger Jack Beauregard, Henry Fonda. He tries to get him to end his career by taking on a gang of outlaws. The main duel occurs at the end, when Nobody and Beauregard take their paces and draw their pistols in a stylized scene that ends with Nobody coming out on top. It is later revealed that Beauregard is not dead. The duel was a setup, all to give Beauregard his much-needed retirement. Nobody suddenly becomes somebody, and Beauregard happily takes the nobody position in this unique ending that is equal parts silly and poetic. For a Few Dollars More, 1965, the second film of the Man with No Name trilogy, follows two bounty hunters, played by Clint Eastwood and Lee Van Cleef, who target an outlaw named El Indio. The two begin the hunt as rivals, but soon come together as partners. The best duel of the film pits El Indio against Van Cleef's character, Colonel Mortimer. Just before the duel, a mysterious connection between El Indio and Mortimer is discovered, delivering an emotional gravitas to the duel. In other words, this one is personal. Director Sergio Leone composes the scene in his usual brilliant way, and Ennio Morricone scores it with an incredible track filled with haunting chimes and triumphant horns. Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968, another Sergio Leone spaghetti western. This one doesn't star Clint Eastwood. Instead, Charles Bronson takes the lead as Harmonica in this story about greedy railroad barons, bandits, and landowners. Amid land disputes and political drama, Harmonica intervenes in order to settle a personal score. He finally settles it in the ending duel, pitting Harmonica against Frank, played by Henry Fonda, who is seen via flashbacks killing Harmonica's brother. The shootout is scored by Ennio Morricone with a searing electric guitar riff and is hard to forget. A truly memorable duel. Tin Star, 1957. Veteran bounty hunter Morg Hickman, Henry Fonda, rides into a town in turmoil. The sheriff has been killed. Young, inexperienced Ben Owens, Anthony Perkins, made a replacement until someone permanent can be assigned. Ben wants to be that permanent replacement, so needs to impress the townspeople. When he finds that Morg was a sheriff for a long time before he became a bounty hunter, he asks Hickman to teach him. Morg thinks that being a sheriff is a foolish goal, however agrees to instruct Ben in handling people, even more important to a sheriff than handling a gun. The Gunfighter, 1950. Notorious gunfighter Jimmy Ringo rides into town to find his true love, who doesn't want to see him. He hasn't come looking for trouble, but trouble finds him around every corner. Based on the life and exploits of an actual Western gunslinger named John Ringo. The real Ringo was a ruthless murderer and survivor of the vengeance ride engaged in by Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday after the ambushes of Wyatt's brothers Morgan and Virgil. Following the gunfight at the OK Corral in July of 1882, he went on a monumental 10-day alcoholic binge, which climaxed when he sat down under an oak tree, drew his gun, and used it to commit suicide. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. I appreciate your likes and subscribers. Hit the notification button to get my new videos. Take a look at my channel and check out my Facebook page. The links are in the description. I am Wrangler. Bye for now. See you again soon.
Interesting facts about famous people.